You're listening to Catholic Chicago. Ahead, the Archdiocese of Chicago brings you programs about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Thanks for letting us be part of your morning. Now again, Catholic Chicago.
Good morning and welcome to the Voice of Charity. I'm Phil Zepeda here with my colleague Katie Bredemann. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning, Phil.
We're just loving our theme music song here and we're dancing in the studio. No, we're not at all. Hey, we're glad that everybody that's joining us is here with us this morning, whether you're listening in on WNDZ or you're joining us on our live stream on YouTube and Facebook at Catholic Chicago. Thank you so much for joining us. So last week, we discussed Catholic Charities' Roseland Adolescent Parenting Program, also known as RAP, and how this longtime service does a phenomenal job educating and supporting young mothers and their children from birth to age 3 through regular home visits, group classes, and supportive resources. And as part of the discussion, we talked about the important role that doulas play in a young mother's life as she prepares for childbirth and adjust to having a newborn in her life. Today, we're going to take a closer look at other Catholic Charities programs that utilize doula services to better understand how critical their emotional support and practical advice are to young mothers as they start their families and try to support themselves and their children while continuing their education or their careers.
This is such a wonderful, life-affirming impact area here at Catholic Charities. And last week, our guest was Velma Walker, who's the Department Director for all Catholic Charities parenting programs at the Jadonald E. Ford Center. And this week, we're delighted to welcome Velma back to the show. And joining her is Nicole Harper-Spencer, who is Supervisor for Doula Services at Catholic Charities. Welcome, Velma and Nicole.
Welcome.
Yes.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
And thank you for having us again.
Of course.
So delighted to have you ladies with us. Velma, can you please remind our audience, what types of services are included in Catholic Charities pregnancy and parenting programs?
Yeah, so we provide home visiting services, in person and virtual. We provide parenting services, and the parenting services are all, and we also offer doula services, that's for moms who are pregnant and needing that support and wanting that support because they don't have it. So we're excited about those main services. And then we do case management services, which means that we may work with the moms for a year, 2 or 3 years, and assist them with other resources and referrals that they may need as they are as parents.
And so Velma,
we enjoy those, enjoyed some of the things that we do with them, especially with our doula services. And I think everybody in the world that work with pregnant parenting families need doula.
No, absolutely. And it really articulates the whole idea of accompaniment with people, right? When you're walking that journey with a mom through the pregnancy and in those early years of her child's life. How many expectant mothers and mothers of young children do you assist in your programs at the Jadonald E. Ford Center on an annual basis?
Yeah. Well, for the pregnant moms, we work with about 43. We're funded to work with 43 moms. But sometimes over a year span, we may work with more than 43. It may be 50 or 60 moms. Parenting moms is to total about 100 altogether. So some of them come in as pregnant, some of them come in with their babies already for services.
So it's really quite a big program, isn't it, Phil?
Yeah, it sounds like you've got your hands full. And I want to be sure before we move forward with talking about doulas that we really understand and get under the hood of understanding what doulas are and the services they provide. So Nicole, let me ask you, for those that are not familiar with doulas, can you describe the role that they play in a young mother's life?
Absolutely. So doulas are essentially labor coaches, and we provide free in-home support to income qualified women that reside in the city of Chicago who are 28 weeks pregnant until about 2 months postpartum. Doulas offer birth preparation, labor assistance, nutrition education, breastfeeding support, and case management, like Ms. Walker stated. Doulas support mothers in our program 25 years old or younger. Doulas provide emotional, physical, and educational support to all pregnant women. And then the word doula originates from the Greek word meaning servant. So, of course, we serve. We tend to the needs and desires of the women in labor. And then, of course, we know birth can be very transformational experience for most people or most women. And our main goal is to empower our participants to feel capable of having the kind of birth experience that they want. We are fully present, supporting our participants while witnessing the miracle happening at each birth, which I'm so humbled by. And then we highlight that hard work of our participants in that miracle.
So, Nicole, doula programs are a thread through a bunch of Catholic Charities programs, right? So, it's many Catholic Charities programs offer doula services. What are the differences between the way that doula service might be rolled out or approached?
Sure. So we definitely collaborate with all of our parenting and pregnant programs throughout the agency. In particular, the RAP program that Ms. Walker just discussed. They have the moms receive parent family support workers until their children are about 3 years old. But the RAP and doula program integrate and work together with those particular participants. And we get referrals all the time from the RAP program. And so those referrals come in at about the pregnant woman's third trimester. But also, we have the Better Birth Outcomes program that has case managers and they refer into the doula program. And then you have Transforming Lives programs, and these are doulas that actually deal with pregnant moms that are struggling with substance abuse. And so any program can refer a mom based on the qualifying factors. And then, of course, the doula program services the Chicagoland area and in particular the South Side, including the Argyle program or the Argyle Gardens area.
That's really a very comprehensive look at it, and it just shows how important the doula services are, but also how expansive they are across Chicago and the suburbs, Nicole. Can you talk to us a little bit about how the doulas meet with the clients? Because these are busy women, most often they have jobs, and they're maybe in some cases caring for other children. Do you often meet in person in their homes, or is Zoom more popular now? How does that work?
Well, of course, Zoom was very popular during the pandemic, but we are getting back to in-person visits, of course, in the home. We meet with our clients weekly in the home environment or virtual if they prefer. We accommodate the participants who need hands-on support in person, and we also, and who also prefer televisits or Zoom or FaceTime.
Okay.
In the first few months of our work together, we work heavily on prenatal education, preparing the participants for their labor and delivery experience. We focus on birth plans and personal goals for the mother, baby, and the family. We deal with breastfeeding, advocacy, birth rights, medical interventions, pain management during labor, stages and phases of labor, and of course, depression.
And you mentioned that, you really are birth coaches, you're friends, and a support system to the women who might not, otherwise have that. In that regard, do you attend medical appointments with the women and make sure that they understand the importance of those on a monthly basis? I'm just wondering what that role is of the doula from a medical perspective.
Yes, we definitely encourage medical health or making sure that they go to the doctors. But yes, doulas do attend doctor's appointments with their participants if the participants request that support. We have partnerships with different high schools, social service agencies, hospitals, clinics, doctors, nurses. I mean, a slew of people who love us and definitely give us referrals.
Yes.
And then, of course, with different case managers around the Chicagoland area so that we could provide the resources that our clients need.
And talk a little bit more about those community partners. What role do they fit in the young woman's life and in the doula program?
So of course you got high schools and schools who are definitely, that's the educational aspect of it. You have social workers that deal with us, and then you have the medical part, which is the hospital, clinics, doctors, and nurses who definitely see the benefits of doulas and how we help young women to transition into motherhood and all of those kind of things. So we have some good partnerships with people out here who, want to work with the community.
So, Nicole, let's talk a little bit about substance use.
Sure.
If how are doula services structured if an expectant mom is struggling with substance use?
I'm glad you asked that. So, moms that struggle with substance abuse are transferred directly to the Transforming Lives doula program. That's an actual doula program that has trained doulas that are peer recovery specialists. So, they're very knowledgeable on how to appropriately deal with and treat and service that population of moms.
Got it.
Because you're trying to not only help the woman recover herself, but you're obviously looking out for the well-being of her unborn child, right? At the same time, it's a delicate
Absolutely.
balance.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We have to give the babies the best start that they can get.
Yes.
So, Nicole, talk to us about what happens when doula services conclude. Post 2 months postpartum. Can doulas further assist young mothers using Catholic Charities programs? What does that look like, and how does that take shape?
Sure. Well, most times we do end at 2 months postpartum, but if we see a particular client that might need a little bit of extra help, we might extend the services for 1 or 2 months, excuse me. But most times they're transferred back within our parenting programs. And so most times they're transferred back to the RAP program, which is the Rose and Adolescent Parenting Program, or they're back to their case managers in the Better Birth outcomes program. And so they're always transferred to other programs to continue to receive services that will help them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's strikingly amazing the work that you're doing here to help residents of the communities. Velma, let me throw it back to you, and then we'll throw it to a commercial break. In our doula services and in all of our pregnancy programs, what are the key components of education that come into play as part of our services that are essential for the expectant and new mothers to grasp? What is key and what is fundamental?
The fundamental thing is teaching moms how to be parents. So that's why we have the Parents as Teachers evidence-based curriculum that workers are trained to use in their work as family support workers with their moms. Family support workers are so key, and being trained to utilize that curriculum to help teach the moms and be their coach, to really coach the parents, how to be good parents and how to recognize the different things that's going on with their babies, and to teach them good parent-child interaction skills, techniques, tools to help their babies learn and grow, age appropriately. So they're trained to teach them we use the ASQ tools in which they train the moms the developmental stages that their babies are transitioning into, to make sure they recognize those stages and they're able to provide the support to that baby. And if the baby starts walking, recognizing where that baby is in walking and what they need to do to continue to assist that baby, giving the baby confidence that they can do this, So, yeah, moms, without that family support worker, without the training that our family support workers get utilizing the Parents as Teachers curriculum, I just don't think we could do the good work that we do. That curriculum is really it's a difficult, hard curriculum. Workers they go through a 2-week and then ongoing trainings to be able to continue to provide the support and the coaching to those moms.
And there's plenty more to talk about here. We're going to throw it to break right now, so we'll ask Nicole and Velma to stick around because we've got some more questions for you. We're talking about doula services within Catholic Charities. You're listening to the Voice of Charity on Catholic Chicago. Stay tuned for more.
Catholic Charities Blossoms of Hope Brunch will be held on Sunday, April 30th at Drury Lane in Oak Brook, in support of the Loving Outreach to Survivors of Suicide program, also known as LOSS. This inspiring brunch is an opportunity for all members of the LOSS community to gather with its founder, Father Charles Ruby, in support of the program and to celebrate the resilience that can be attained over time. For more than 40 years, LOSS has been compassionately accompanying individuals and families on their journey through grief. The program has been recognized by the United Nations as a model for helping those grieving this tragic event in their lives. In-person and online resources help people around the country find healing and joy in life again. To learn more about LOSS and the Blossoms of Hope Brunch, visit CatholicCharities.net.
People always say, how can you spend your day with 3-year-olds? Seeing the changes that they go through and just the journey and how they grow, this is a very rewarding job. Even though at the end of the day, we're not the highest paid people on earth. And when I have a parent contact me and say, my child loves school, that to me, I'm setting that foundation for their love of learning, because really you are changing lives, you are molding lives.
Shape the next generation of leaders. Teach. Apply today at archchicago.org/schooljobs.
Catholic Charities' Family Self-Sufficiency Program has assisted thousands of single parents who are working to become more self-sufficient through education and employment opportunities. Our experienced case managers accompany participants for up to 5 years on their journey to identify, address, and break down barriers to improving their quality of life and achieving meaningful goals for themselves and for their families. Professional, compassionate assistance is offered in a safe and trusting environment as participants develop the skills needed to become financially stable and able to support themselves. Every achievement starts with a decision to try. To learn more about Catholic Charities' Family Self-Sufficiency Program, call 847-782-4233 or visit CatholicCharities.net.
Welcome back to the Voice of Charity. This is Phil Zepeda. I'm here with my colleague, Katie Bredemann. We are talking to our fabulous guests. Velma Walker is the Department Director for all Catholic Charities parenting programs, and Nicole Harper-Spencer is a supervisor in the Doula Services program. We're talking about Doula Services, and we're just thrilled to have these folks here. We want to get into and ask you both to share some of the profound stories and the casework that each of you have encountered. And Nicole, we'll start with you. As these expectant and new mothers often have very different situations and backgrounds that they're coming into the program, and their barriers and their abilities to support themselves are just very different for themselves and their children. What story comes to mind for you about a client that you've helped navigate these serious challenges?
Oh, so many stories come to mind. So many stories. I've been a doula for 10 years. And prior to being a supervisor, I was a doula on the ground for 5, and I still carry a caseload. So the stories are many, 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 many. But a few months back, I experienced a mom who was pregnant, and oftentimes they experience unstable housing, but this one in particular did, and with no income. She had lack of paternal and prenatal support, so she wasn't going to the doctor to get her weekly checkups and monthly checkups. She wasn't enrolled in high school, and she also wanted to give her baby up for adoption. This is one of the heartfelt stories that I told to Miss Walker a while back, and it kind of pulled her heartstrings. But so after the young lady enrolled in the doula program and built a rapport with her doula, of course, we knew we had a lot of work to do. But the mom began to understand the dynamics between her and her baby just throughout the home visiting process and being educated. She slowly learned about the development of her baby through parent-child activities that we typically do throughout the visits, and she began to become attached to her unborn child. I found many resources for the mom. She was able to register back into high school, actually into an alternative high school. She was able to get permanent housing with a relative and mend her broken relationship with her parents. And she also received counseling services. So in the end, she ended up giving birth to a very healthy baby boy, and she immediately bonded with him, and she forgot all about the adoption services that she wanted to participate in, and she wanted to keep her child. She eventually completed high school. She has a job and she lives back home with her parents. The baby is thriving and he's in full time daycare while mom works. So she's back on track with life and she's ready to register for college in the fall. And she actually wants to be an engineer, I just heard. So, we have many, many stories of success in the doula program. Also, we have breastfeeding rates within the program really going up and really, we're really promoting breastfeeding. So, a lot of young moms are either not knowledgeable or either they're discouraged as far as breastfeeding is concerned. And so, after a few home visits or group services, they learn the benefits for themselves and their babies, and they quickly change their minds, which is a really good thing. So we have a very high percentage of our moms that breastfeed and actually continue breastfeeding for a year or two. So we give them the information and the tools that they need to make the best decisions for their health and their lives. So
Wonderful
Nicole, even
stories.
as you're telling that story, you're beaming, and you can tell how profound the work that you
What a
do is
wonderful
in the
story.
lives of these people. So thank you for sharing that. Velma, you're not off the hook. We want to hear from you. I want to. I'll tease this up. We ran out of time last week when you were on the show talking about the Roseland Adolescent Parenting Program, and we had kind of teed up this story of Jan, who had come through the RAP program. Can you share a little bit about Jan's journey with the RAP program?
Yeah, I'm not unlike Nicole. I don't necessarily have hands-on with some of the participants. So this is a story that one of the the supervisor of RAP, Jessica, shared with me about Jan, and I like the story so much because Jan had come to the program, and she came through doula. She was a pregnant initially, and she lived with her mother and her siblings, and Jan's 1-year-old daughter was provided the parent-child services that we provide, parent interaction. She participated in with the family support work on working with her baby and understanding the stages of development that her baby was going through. And mom, it really enjoyed the hands-on activity that the family support worker was working with her 1-year-old child. So mom decided that, hey, I want to continue to work with my child up until she starts preschool, and doing from 0 to 3. I want to really work with her. So mom had developed the goal in her mind that, hey, well, I'm going to work from home. I want to work from home, and I need to find a job to work from home so I can continue to provide be the mom to my baby that I want to be. And she knew that, again, she's the first teacher. So the mom and the family support worker began to diligently help and work with the mom to find a job that she could do that to work from home in. And the family support worker assisted the mom by looking for different job announcements and just identifying the very jobs that were allowing people to work from home. And throughout that job search, uh, Jan remained positive that she was going to find her a work from home job, that she'll find her that job of choice. And Jan was interviewed and hired for a job. and the family support worker and Jan celebrating achieving her goal of finding a work from home job so that she continue to work from home and she continue to engage and work with her 1-year-old. And that's what we do. If we know there's a goal that a mom has, we really try to help them achieve that goal. And the goal is, I want to make sure that my baby, I want to be able to continue to be the first teacher for my child until she's ready for preschool. But how do I do that? Because I have to leave. I have to go to work. I have to provide for my child. And the workers really, they helped her make that dream come true, to work from home with her child, and she's still doing it.
That's a
She
great
achieved
story,
her goal.
Velma, really.
Yeah.
I've spoken with Jessica before, and I know some of the women in the RAP program have actually become entrepreneurs. They've created their own businesses also so that they could work from home and be that first teacher. So you're empowering these women in such wonderful ways. It's really great work that you guys do.
Yeah, that's what we do in Catholic Charities, to empower,
Yeah.
encourage,
Yeah.
support. That's what we're about, and to help them thrive. And that's, you when you live in a community with different things going on, you want to bring the positive out of that community. And to see a lot of our kids being young people, women being entrepreneurs, I go like, I never thought about being an entrepreneur at that age, So yeah, thank you.
wonderful.
That's what we try to do.
Real quickly, before we run out of time, can we ask you ladies to each maybe give a quick overview of what the most challenging parts of your job are and the most rewarding? Nicole, may I start with you?
Well, I say the challenging part is probably the initial contact with the referred client. Many times when we getting in contact with them can be difficult because we know young people have issues with like phones working and transients and things of that nature. Then also our other biggest challenges possibly going to births and being at the births at the hospital. Many hospitals have policies where they reduce the number of people that can participate in the delivery room. And so moms struggle with choosing between their family members and their doulas for their support because the hospital only allows 2 people with a participant in the birth.
That is
so
a
those
challenge.
are probably our most 2 difficult challenges that we face.
And how about you, Velma, real quickly before we run out of time here?
Sure. I think that our biggest challenge continues to be making sure that we have the resources that families need for themselves and for their infants and toddlers. Resources are key. Our families need the diapers and the wipes. They need the formula. They need the milk. And even the transportation assistance to be able to get to where they need to go, because our families usually have to travel very far to get to their medical appointments and things like that. So, yeah.
So, Velma and Nicole, we're grateful to both of you for joining us on the show. A quick phone numbers. Anybody interested in learning more about the doula services can call 773-474-7250. And just around pregnancy and parenting programs in general, 773-474-7232. We're so grateful to both of you talking about these programs that are available for mothers and children, and how Catholic Charities is helping lower income mothers get the support and education they need. So God bless you. Thank you so much for your work in this, and thanks for joining us today.
You really are shaping the future, ladies, with your kindness and your skill and your compassion. I agree with Phil. Thank you so much for being here. And I remind everybody that if you'd like to make a donation to Catholic Charities in support of our parenting and pregnancy programs, you can go to CatholicCharities.net/donate. And we'd be so grateful for that contribution and support of these ladies and the ladies that they serve. Thank you. And we invite all you back again next week for another edition of The Voice of Charity. For now, this is Katie Bredemann with Phil Zepeda, and we thank you for tuning in and believing in the mission of Catholic Charities.